I've been going to therapy for about 3.5 years now. And one of the most common negative comments that I get about therapy is therapy is useless. I tried it and it just doesn't work. And I've spent so much money on it. And at the same time, I also get a remark, Blash, why are you paying somebody to listen to you for an hour a week? Don't you have any friends that could listen to you? The answer is no, I don't. And I don't want to talk about it with them. And I don't want to burden my friends with the trauma that I had. That is why a therapist is there. And therapy works for me. Now, I completely get that for some people, therapy didn't work. And it probably didn't work for some of the following reasons. And the first one pretty much is that there's an expectation mismatch. And what I mean by that is that when somebody goes to therapy, they most likely think, hey, I'm going to get better right away after the first session, maybe 2 sessions. And then I'm going to start seeing results. Well, let me bring this to you that if that is not the case. The first time that I ever felt some relief from therapy was around 2 months afterwards. And that was like 20 minutes or so. And then I went through 6 months of my worst time pretty much being alive, apart from when I was a child. And after that is when I actually started feeling better and my energy returned, everything else. And one of the reasons why there is such a big expectations mismatch is due to our culture, unfortunately, right now, is that we want instant gratification. We live in a world of social media where everything is done within 30-second shorts, 45, 60-second shorts. Look at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, or insert any and all social media that you're using. And we just get that instant dopamine rush when we're seeing something. And this is also what we expect from therapy. The issue behind this is that we're in therapy, we're going into our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind is way more powerful than our conscious mind. So we have to talk about this over and over again. We have to relive it, relive our past experiences so that we can create other neurological connections inside our brain so that we can react differently. And at the same time, the expectation mismatch also comes from people who are offering their services, right? You've definitely seen people offering, hey, in 10 sessions, I'm gonna change your life completely. Just pay me a crap ton of money. Well, it works. This works for a really short amount of time. And I can guarantee you, anybody that understands psychology, especially therapists and good therapists, can switch around and make you feel way better than you did before. But that only lasts for a short period of time. So those are short term goals and short term achievements. And as soon as you stop going to them after, let's say, 3 months, 10 sessions, 12 sessions, whatever, sooner or later, you're going to start feeling crap again. And then you're going to have to repeat and you're going to have to buy in with their program over and over again so that you can feel better pretty much. And that's kind of like instant gratification. Whereas therapy is a long-term process, which is probably gonna spend you're gonna spend years on getting better. But when you get better, like I have, that thing stays. And it doesn't just last for a short term. It lasts for a lifetime, a lifetime. And I know I've been going to therapy for 3.5 years, and I still have probably about 15 years at least that I will have to go to therapy to actually achieve what I want to achieve and to live the life that I was always meant to live without trauma and without any fear of what I'm fearing right now and what I was fearing in the past. Now, the second part is that it may be a wrong fit. Searching, and here I'm talking about specifically for in terms of therapists and in terms of modality of what kind of therapy are you using. So first, let's go into what type of therapy you would want to use. So I use the talking therapy, so psychotherapy, where every single week I go and talk about what's happening in my life and what kind of and this what's happening in my life actually informs myself and my therapist on what kind of trauma I'm processing and what do we need to focus on. Because the way I live my life and what triggers I have or don't have actually informs both me and my therapist on how I'm improving what my mind is focusing right now, or just what kind of type of place I am at the moment mentally. You have a bunch of other modalities and types of therapy. My honest opinion and my honest suggestion is go to talking therapy. It's way more effective and better for you in the long term. Because when you're reliving your past and when you're going through those traumas, it may be really, really hard. And it is, I mean, not maybe, it will be hard of reliving them and talking through them. But when you do that, it will give you a sense of relief in the long run, even in the short term, but specifically in the long term. And at the same time, when you're doing this, you're only talking about things that your subconscious allows you to talk about, and what your subconscious, your brain thinks that you're okay to actually that you're okay with the topics that you're about to breach. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck somewhere and put somewhere in, like what I like to call it, in a locked box until your subconscious thinks that you're ready to face those things. I still have a bunch of my memories that I don't have. I know I should have them, but I don't, because my subconscious still thinks, hey, it's not the right time or the place for it. In a year, it may be. Now, the second one is picking up a therapist. If you pick a good therapist, you're going to have an amazing time and you're going to see tremendous progress. Yet, if you pick a bad therapist, you may actually be reverting to a worse state than you were when you got to that therapist. So here, you really need to make sure that you pick therapist that fits you, because not all therapists are created equal, of course, with their knowledge base and their expertise. But also, a person may be a great therapist, but they may not be the best therapist for you. So you have to do your due diligence and you have to check which therapist is good for you. And you may actually have to switch around. So I was lucky in this regard that I'm with my first therapist for 3.5 years, and I will be staying with her through my duration of my therapy. Now, I've created a completely separate video just walking down how to pick a therapist, and it's going to be linked somewhere here, pretty much. Now, the next one that I want to discuss, the so reason number three is that you're just not ready for therapy yet. So the first part of this is you may have been forced to go to therapy, either by your friends, by your family, whoever. And what I understood with therapy is that you and your body, in this case, your subconscious mind, decides when it wants to go to therapy, when is it going to be open for therapy. So, case in point, I started therapy when I was 33. My girlfriend started her therapy when she was 24. So there was a big age difference, right? If we're looking at it, and we started our therapy within 6 months of each other. And at that point, my body and my subconscious was saying, we need to go to therapy. We need to change something. Yet, if I started therapy probably like 2, 3 years before, or even a year before, and even though I knew that at one point I was gonna have to go to therapy, I knew that for like about 20 years now. When I went, if I forced myself to go to therapy, what would have happened was I definitely wouldn't have picked and found this therapist for sure. Other one would be I wouldn't be as open for it, and I would be almost hostile to the therapist. And because all of that, I would most likely say to myself after a few sessions, hey, shit, this isn't working. Therapy is useless. Therapy isn't working. I'm just there to talk and nothing changes. So there is always a right time and place for a person to go to therapy. And you will find the right time. Your body is legitimately going to be calling you, hey, I need to go to therapy. And even if at the moment you feel like therapy is useless, or you just don't feel like that you can go to therapy, that's okay. That's completely fine. Don't force yourself to it, towards it, because it most likely will be a failure. And the actual resulting shame and trauma of just going to therapy may actually prevent you to going to therapy when you actually need it. Reason number 4 is a more nuanced reason when you're already in therapy. And if you're thinking after 2, 3, even 4 months, if you've tried it, that nothing is changing, it's most likely because the way we react and the way we deal with our trauma. It's not when, let's say, a trigger or a trauma happens for us, then we talk to the therapist. So I talk to my therapist and I feel like, hey, amazing, I've processed something, right? And that trigger and trauma goes away. That's completely false. And usually the trauma will never go away and the trigger as well. What will happen is that it's going to be bearable. You're going to be able to just think about this and just go along with your life. It's not going to be a debilitating trigger where you're going to get nervous, angry, jealous, ashamed, or whatever feeling that you have at the time. Now, we need to think about this as kind of like looking at an onion. So, an onion has several layers. And when this specific trigger or trauma happens at one point, you talk about with your therapist. And let's just say that I've done the work and I kind of resolved this trauma. Then I'm just peeling off one layer of the onion. I'm still going to get the trigger to that trauma response the next time a similar situation happens. But what's going to be happening is I'm going to be changing the way I react and then my perspective towards the trigger. It's most likely not going to be as debilitating as it once was. I'm not going to be going into fight, flight, freeze, or the fawn response, but there's still going to be some of it, but it's going to be less intense. And the more often I get to that trigger and I processes it, the more layers I peel out until I get to the core, where it may actually happen that I or you are going to be completely resolving this trigger and trauma. It can happen, especially with the traumas that aren't so debilitating and so strong, and you can then move it away. But you're going to be coming back and back and back and back to that trauma and trigger, looking at it from different sides, different perspectives, which are going to correlate to the person that you're progressing towards, the person that is developing right in front of your face, which is pretty much you. And one of the things that I do here is that I always look at where I am right now versus where I was 3 months, 6 months, and a year ago. And at that point, I see tremendous progress. And that's pretty much my advice that you do as well. And it will work to put in some words on paper or even film it like like I am now. This YouTube channel, this video is also as much as it for me than it is for you. So that I can go back and see where I was 6 months in 1 year's time frame. Now, go and do some great things.